Guys, give me a second. I'm gonna do the audio thingy on my laptop and then we can get started, okay? Alrighty, let's do this. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel / my podcast. I am the marketing nomad. My name is Prithvi Madhukar. I am the author of 0 to 4 Figures and Self-Loved. I am also a digital entrepreneur and a business owner. A few of the roles that I do take on, I'm a podcaster, YouTuber, Etsy shop owner, Skillshare teacher as well. All of the links are in the description box below if you would like to check it out. Welcome to episode 172 of Ask TMN, where we're going to be talking about a goal setting process for solopreneurs. Now, if you're new here and you're wondering, well, what is this Ask TMN thing that I'm talking about? Well, Ask TMN is actually a series that I started on my podcast as well as my YouTube channel where I answer questions that solopreneurs may have regarding marketing, business, as well as mindset. All right, so here's how I've basically structured this podeo for you today. The first part, we're going to be talking about 6 different areas that you need to focus on, and it's 6 areas that you can implement the goal setting framework that I do have for you. All right, and then the second part of the podeo, we're going to go into a very simple goal setting framework which you can implement for each of the areas that we talk about, and you can set goals for yourself. Now, an extension of this podeo is something that I've seen a lot of solopreneurs struggle with, me included as well, and that is, well, how do you balance your business and your personal life when you are setting goals? And something that I've been actually doing for the past 2 years now, because I struggled with this a lot in my first 2 years, and honestly the line between my business and my personal life was just so blurred that I was like, okay, you know what? Something's really wrong in the way that I'm attacking my goals. I've got to fix this. And so for me, the way that I see it, it's important for us as solopreneurs to be intentional about our goal setting, because the lines between our business and our personal life can get blurry very quickly. And so my framework, the way that I handle things, or the way that I've been handling my business as well as my personal life for the last 2 years, has actually helped me balance both of them to an extent, because of course there's always room for growth. And this podeo was actually inspired by a conversation that I had with a very dear friend of mine. We were having a conversation in the DMs on Instagram, and she was like, you know what? First off, I don't know where to start with goal setting. And second, whatever goals I do set for my business, they always seem to encroach into my personal life. I don't know where to draw the line. And so that's when, I sat down and I was actually thinking about it, like, okay, how do I actually do this? And then I realized that the way that I approach goal setting is slightly different, and I wanted to share that with you. So yes, we are going to be talking about goal setting for your business, but as an extension of that, it's going to also be how do you set goals for your business in a way where you can balance your personal life as well. All right, let's get into the first part that I do have for you, and that is areas to set goals for. So of course, when it comes to goal setting, there are different areas of your business, and this is going to be the 6 areas that I personally focus on. You might have more areas depending on the stage of growth of your business as well as the nature of your business, but these are the 6 fundamentals that I wish to share with you, okay? So the first area to set goals for is your financial part of your business. And that could be anything related to the revenue that you wish to earn for the new year, the profit margin that you wish to have, your expense management. Maybe you want to cut down on your expenses, or you want to be more intentional about what you are spending for your business, so on and so forth. You can also focus on the ROI, the return on investment, for all of the stuff that you are investing in. So all of that would come under financial, okay? And of course, you will be implementing the goal setting framework that I do have for you for each of these areas that we are talking about. So the first area is your financial aspect. Now, the second area that we're getting into is the customer aspect of your business. Now, this is not just about how you are going to acquire new customers. It's also about how are you going to retain your existing customers? How are you going to extend the customer lifetime value? How are you going to make sure that your existing customers are going to be happy for the next year? What goals can you possibly set for that? Not just that, how can you ensure that your existing customers are referring you to other people? So this would be the second aspect of your business that you would set goals for. Now, the third aspect of your business that you will set goals for is your operations. All right. So in this aspect, it would be more so, okay, well, there are already set systems and processes that you have in place. How are you going to streamline it? How are you going to make it better? How are you going to make your systems and processes more efficient? How are you going to maximize your time? How are you going to manage your productivity? All of this comes under the operations aspect of your business, okay? Then we come to the fourth, which is your products and services. So of course, if you are planning to include any new products in the new year, add any services to your products, or add maybe a new course, so on and so forth. All of this come under your product. Maybe you want to refine the existing products and services that you do have. Maybe you want to add additional benefits, additional promos running, so on with your products and services. All of that come under goal setting for your products and services, all right? Now, the fifth one is your marketing and sales. So for example, you have different channels that you are on, right? So what's going to happen on each of those? What are your goals for each of those channels? How are you going to manage it? And for example, it can be hit a certain number of followers, or hit a certain number of subscribers on a particular platform, hit a certain number of viewership on your website, like unique viewers by the end of that month. So all the marketing and sales campaigns, your promotions that you're going to be running, all of that comes under the marketing and sales aspect. Okay, so that would be the fifth aspect of your business that you will be setting goals for. The sixth and last aspect, and this is probably the most crucial one, would be personal aspect of your business. And I think this is where a lot of people seem to stumble, because when we think of business, especially as solopreneurs, we seem to just focus on, okay, the financial aspect of it, the marketing, the sales, the product, so on and so forth, but we don't remember, or at least I think we tend to forget a little bit more often, that we, us, you, me, we're an integral part of that business as well. And so we have to factor ourselves in when we are setting goals for our business. And I think this is something that has always helped me in more ways than one balance my personal and my business life, because I kind of look at it as a whole. I don't separate the two. Yes, in my personal aspect, on a different note, I would probably go into like the 8 areas of life and then dig deeper into that. But when I'm setting business goals, I do factor in my personal aspect, and it's more on the surface level, like, okay, how much time do I want to allocate for myself? What activities do I also want to have time for my personal development, for my professional development? What other activities or hobbies do I want to give time for? So on and so forth. What are my personal aspirations with respect to the personal aspect of my business? And so when you look at your business as a whole, including yourself, because you are an integral part of your business, I think that's when you become a little bit more cognizant of where you're spending time, and that line between your business and your personal actually gets a lot more bolder. All right, so that would be my biggest pro tip for you. If you are a solopreneur and you are struggling to, find time for your personal life, add your personal goals, at least the surface level personal goals, when you are setting your goals for your business as well, because you are an integral part of your business. I'm going to repeat that again because that is very, very important. You are an integral part of your business. Don't forget that. Don't disclude, is that a word? I'm not sure. Don't not include. Wow, I don't know how we're going with this. But yeah, I think disclude is a word, right? I think it is. Okay, well, whatever it is, don't make the mistake of not including that in your equation when you are setting goals for your business. All right. So yeah, that was a little bit of a hiccup over there. I'm probably gonna Google after we finish this episode, like, is disclude, is that a word? I hope it is. Okay, I really hope it is. All right, so those are the 6 areas to set goals for. We're gonna go over them again. The first one is your financial, second customer, third one operations, fourth one products and services, fifth one your marketing and sales, and the sixth one you. All right, personal, you. Okay, so those are the areas to set goals for. Now we're gonna get into the goal setting framework that I do have for you. So when it comes to goal setting, the very, very fundamental thing about goal setting is, what's the lack? What's the lack and where do you want to get to? It's just basically that simple, because every time, I look at different goal setting frameworks out there and I hear a lot of solopreneurs talking about their own goals, like they're a little bit confused about how to set goals, what to do, where to even start. For me, when I ask myself, okay, what goals do I want to set? The question that I ask myself, very, very simply put, is, what's lacking in my business? What is lacking and where do I want to get to? And that's usually the goal that I set for myself. Whatever is lacking is usually part of the goals that I wish to have in that particular aspect, okay? And where is it that I want to get to? Of course, that also comes as your aspirations. Where do you hope your business is going to be at the end of the next year? So that also comes under your goals. So what you're gonna do is, in each of the 6 areas that we spoke about, you are going to ask yourself the first question, and that is, what is lacking in this aspect? So in the financial aspect, what is lacking? In the customer aspect, what is lacking? Set that as your goal for the next year. And then perhaps there is maybe it's, there's nothing lacking, but at the same time, there is somewhere that you want to push it. Maybe you want to have a 10% growth, so on and so forth. Again, what is lacking, or what do you aspire it to be? One of the two, all right? And either question will answer what exactly is your goal for that particular aspect. So you're going to go into financial, you're going to go into customer, you're going to go into operations, products and services, marketing, sales, as well as personal, okay? What is lacking? And so maybe in 2023, you didn't really focus too much on yourself, and you found that you didn't have time for your hobbies, you were constantly working on your business. So your personal goal would be to dedicate X amount of time for your hobbies per week. And notice that I said X amount of time because it's important for you to be having goals that are smart, and they have to be specific. You have to be able to measure them. They have to be achievable. They have to be relevant. They also have to be time bound. And of course, since we're discussing goal setting for the entire year, again, that's a time bound goal that you do have. It's important to make sure that whatever goals you're having, even though they may be a little bit more broad compared to objectives, there needs to be a certain direction that the goal is giving you to head towards. All right. So the way that I've written it over here is, it has to be realistic. Okay. What's the lack for your business in whichever area that you're going, and you're going to go into each of those 6 areas. And if there is no lack, or you're doing pretty well in that aspect, then it's more of, okay, what do you aspire that part to be? And then make sure that that is realistic, and then set that as your goal. All right, so that's the first step. What's the lack is the first step. The second is, so at this point, you figured out your lack, right? The next step to that is, what is the solution? It's just as simple as that. What is the solution? What action can you take to fill that lack, or to get you to wherever you want to be? It's just basically as simple as that. That is how you figure out your action items. Now, I know, a lot of people, they look at goal setting frameworks, or they worry when it comes to goal setting for their business or for their personal life. But the way that I see it is, it's very fundamentally understanding what is lacking, or where you aspire to be, and what are the steps that you need to take? What are the action items you need to put for yourself to get there? All right. So the way that I see it, the second part of this goal setting process is, how do you fix the lack? That's it. It's just as simple as that. The minute you break it down into a very simple question, how do I fix the lack? What do I need to do to fix the lack? Or what do I need to do to get to where I want to be? That's when things become a lot more clear. I know, especially with goal setting, it can be a little bit confusing or overwhelming to decide, what are going to be your objectives or how you're going to tackle it. Answer this question. Very, very simply put, how are you going to fix the lack? What do you perceive you need to do to fix the lack? What is it that you perceive you need to do to fix whatever is lacking in any one of those aspects that we talked about? Or an alternative question would be, what is it that you perceive you need to do to get you to wherever it is that you want to be? Okay? And so, of course, when you are determining your solutions, they also have to be SMART solutions, as in SMART. It has to be specific. You have to be able to measure them. It has to be achievable. The action items can't be very unrealistic or something that you can't pull off. And then they also have to be relevant to the goal. It has to be able to fix whatever lack that you've set in step number 1. And of course, there is T, time bound. Of course, we're talking about goal setting for the year, but even if it is general goal setting, you wake up one day, you feel like you want to set goals for yourself. That's happened, okay? And I've done that too. So we're not gonna judge anyone based on that. But you could wake up one day and decide, what, I want to set goals and I want to change my life. There is no one particular day. Usually we tend to do it at these markers like the new year or your birthday, so on and so forth. But it's not necessarily something that you have to follow. You can just wake up one day and decide to change your life, okay? Side pro tip over there. All right, so now we figured out the solution. It's basically what is going to fix the lack, or what is it going to take for you to get to where you want to be? Basically just that, all right? So you write down your points. So for example, in your financial aspect, okay, maybe the lack is that you've not actually had any growth in the last 2 years. So maybe in the next year, you want to at least have a 5% year-on-year growth. So that would be the goal, right? And then the action item, that's the second step, would be, what is it going to take from you to fix that? So 5% growth, year-on-year growth. Maybe you want to include 1 new course. You want to add maybe 2 new products. Or maybe you want to bring in 5 high-paying clients, 1 for each quarter or 2 for each quarter, so on and so forth. So give yourself actionable steps to actually figure out how you're going to fix the lack. So that's number 2. Okay, then we come to number 3, which is basically just assigning what you have to do on a week basis, on a month basis, on a quarter basis. It's as simple as that. So for example, in the example that I gave you with your financial aspect, you want to have a 5% year-on-year growth, and your objective is, I'm going to bring in 5 high-paying clients, right? So what you're going to do is assign what you have to do according to your week, month, or even the quarter. So if I say I want 5, for math's sake, let's just say 6, okay? So 6 clients, I want to get 6 high-paying clients for 2024 so that I can push it to the 5% year-on-year growth. And so when that's the case, so there are 6 clients that you have to get for the entire year. So that's 1 client every 2 months, okay? So that would be something that, all right, so in the first month, I'm going to work on X number of sales calls. Maybe your closure rate is like 10%. So, for every 10 calls, you are able to book 1. So if you want to book 1 for 2 months, then you need to be on, 10 calls, right? For the 2 months. So that is Wow, this is a lot of math that I'm doing up in the air. I mean, I love, love, love math, but I'm more of a piece of paper and pen kind of girl. Anyway, so you've got 10 sales calls that you need to make to book that one client, right? And it's normal. That's how your business runs. So that's okay. But that also means you have to sit for 5 sales calls in the first month, 5 sales calls in the second month, so that you book on an average 1 every 2 months, right? So breaking down that math and figuring out what is going to be your action item for each week / month / quarter is how you are going to figure out the last step of your goal setting. So it's not just about goal. You're going to break down the goal to, well, how you're going to fix it. And once you figure out how you're going to fix it, you're going to break it down into action items, time-bound action items. That's where the catch is. And frankly, this is how I do it. For the entire year, I have an overarching goal. I also have overarching goals for each quarter. And then each month, I work towards something. There are deliverables that I have. If you open my diary right now, I could show it to you. There are like weekly tasks that I have to do so that I reach my overall goal for that particular year. And I found that this is the best way that helps me stay on track. And it actually helps me accomplish whatever it is that I have planned for that entire year, because you're breaking it down into weekly / monthly / quarterly deliverables that you have to work through. And just as a pro tip, I do want to tell you, the more you break down the action items to weekly deliverables, trust me when I say it, the easier it becomes for you to manage it. Because if it's a quarter, it's 3 months down the line, it's a little bit of a gap. You may or may not do it. You might forget, so on and so forth. But if you kind of make a list of, all right, this is the overall goal that I have. These are the objectives. And to hit those objectives / goal, I need to be, for example, doing 3 YouTube videos per week. I need to be putting out at least maybe 3 reels a week on my Instagram page. I need to be on 5 sales calls for this entire month, which means I need to be on at least 2 sales calls per week, so on and so forth. So when you can break down your action items and assign it to weeks, trust me when I say it, it becomes that much more simpler for you to follow through. And at the beginning of every single month in my diary, I mean, I can really open it up and show it to you, because this method works so well for me, because I've tried so many different methods that are out there. Yeah, I could never follow through, and I always thought the problem was with me, but no, it's just that you need to find a productivity system that works for you, and this really works for me, especially when it is, just literally having action items for the week that I just need to keep going on repeat. Again, helps me a lot, especially when it comes to following up and even tracking and just seeing where I'm going or where I'm heading towards the goal or objective that I have for that particular year. All right, so mega pro tip, I guess I would say, is the shorter time period that you can break down your action items and just make it as a weekly to do or a bi-weekly to do. I wouldn't go beyond that, just that you probably will not follow through if the time period is bigger. So mega pro tip, break down your action items to shorter time frames. And for me, my go-to is weekly to-do lists. Just break down the action items to make it into weekly to-do lists. Yes. Okay. I was very, very passionate about that, because this is absolutely something that works so well for me. And of course, don't forget that the 6th point of the areas that you need to focus on is your personal aspects. So setting goals for that, setting objectives, setting action items. Like, for me in particular, when it comes to setting goals for my personal, I have to do my nails at least once a week. That is my form of self-care. And having that on a consistent basis, just even simple things like oiling my hair, doing a hair mask, and then washing my hair twice a week, and then doing my nails once a week. Those little things, those little habits put those on your weekly to-do list. I am telling you, if you don't put it on your weekly to-do list, it's never going to happen. And at the end of the year, you're going to be like, okay, where did all that time go? Everything was spent in my business. I really didn't have time for myself, so on and so forth. For me, you've got to include you as a part of your business. You've got to set goals for that as well. And it's very clear. I mean, I have got a part of my diary, my journal, my bullet journal, where I just track every single thing that I'm doing for my self-care. And if I find that, 2 weeks have passed, I've not done my nails, that's a red flag. And I'm like, no. That's part of the to-do list. I have to do that at least once every week, so on and so forth. So for you, you may have other things that you want to focus on a weekly. Maybe you want to do painting. Maybe you want to go for a trek every other week, or maybe you want to travel at least once a month, so on and so forth. Put those in, okay? Make sure that your personal goals and the action items that relate to those personal goals are part of every aspect of your business, all right? They kind of tie in together. Don't forget that you are part of your business. You form an integral part of your business. So it's natural that your needs and wants and desires also have to factor in when you are goal setting for your business. All right, give me 1 second. We're running out of space on my camera, and then we're going to get into the last step that I do have for you. Alrighty, so I'm back, and then that was the third step, all right? So the third step is just assign weekly / monthly / quarterly action items towards the goals. And the question that I've put here in my notes is, well, what do you have to do consistently to get to where you wish to be? I think that's just the best way that I can wrap up this point for you, okay? Then we come to the fourth one, which is the most important thing. It is to track, it is to analyze and pivot if absolutely necessary, all right? But tracking is very, very important. Like I told you, I've got like a mini habit tracker in my bullet journal, and I track everything. I track what I'm working on for this particular day. I also track like my self-care, my other habits, like my exercise, what food I'm eating, like whether I'm eating home food or outside. Everything goes in that bullet journal, my business as well as my personal aspect. And I think for me, when you track, it just gives you data that you need to figure out if you are on track to your goals or your objective for that particular time period. That's it. It's just as simple as that. So track whatever it is that you're doing, especially when it comes to goal setting. Tracking is very, very important. And of course, periodically take some time to analyze the data. Like for example, this particular month I worked so much on, I'm just giving you an example, this is not true, okay? For example, I worked on my Etsy product, and then I kind of neglected another aspect of my book or another product that I do have, like maybe a course or something like that. So just making those little adjustments in your strategy, whatever strategy you've put out, in the action items that you have, you've got to set a little bit of time to analyze the data that you're collecting, whatever you're tracking, and then of course pivot if necessary. For example, you worked for 6 months consistently putting up YouTube videos. Maybe there's some aspect that's not working out. Maybe it's not giving you the amount of subscribers that you're hoping for or the engagement that you're looking. Maybe look at pivoting that strategy a little bit more, so on and so forth. So for me, the last step when it comes to goal setting is you have to track whatever it is that you're doing. You have to analyze whatever it is that you're doing periodically, of course, and give yourself enough time to see if it's working or not. And after that certain time period, of course, if necessary, pivot. Okay? No shame in pivoting. I always say this. I said this even when we were doing the episode on the marketing plan. No shame in pivoting, okay? And something that I've written over here is, are you doing the task? That's what happens with the tracking. You've got to actually do whatever it is that you've assigned yourself to do. And for me, it's like, okay, did I do this week? Did I do it? Then the next week comes by. Did I do the task that I'd set for that particular week? So on and so forth. So for me, that just helps understand whether I'm going in the right direction or not. So I'm pretty confident that over time of you tracking whatever it is that you're doing, it too is going to help you be a little bit more cognizant of whether you're going towards the right direction. And the second is whether you are actually doing whatever it is that you've set out to do. Because again, especially when it comes to goal setting, the reason why we love planning so much is because when we are planning, we kind of perceive that we have accomplished the task and we've done it. And so there's a little bit of a dopamine hit that we get with goal setting. But the tough part is actually putting it into action, which is where the tracking comes. Because when you put a tick in your habit tracker or in whatever it is that you're tracking for the action items, that's a little bit of a dopamine hit as well, right? So you're giving yourself little boosts. At least I feel like really, really happy when I give myself that tick at the end of the day or at the end of the week whenever I'm tracking my stuff. So it's basically, the tracking also gives you those mini little dopamine hits that you may need just so that you keep yourself in track or on track. I don't know which one is it, but we're just gonna scoot past that right now, okay? So that was the fourth one for you, all right? So we're just gonna revise everything once more, do a quick recap, all right? I personally love these recaps because for me, when I'm listening to videos or podcasts, sometimes I forget what they said in the beginning. So these recaps are something that I wish for in other podios. So I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna do that with you too. Okay, so let's revise or recap areas to set goals for. The first one, financial. Second one, customer. Third one, operations. Fourth one, products and services. Fifth one, marketing and sales. Sixth one, you. Okay, the personal aspect. Now we come to the goal setting framework that I do have for you. It is 4 very, very simple steps. The first step is, what's the lack? All right, what problem are you facing? What are you trying to fix? Why is it a lack? What's the expectation that you have? If there is no lack, then where is it that you want to be? The second step to the goal setting framework is, what are the possible solutions, okay? How are you going to fix the lack, or how are you going to get to wherever it is that you want to be? Very simple, all right? Then the third is, you assign the action items that you've kind of listed out. You're going to assign it into specific time periods. So either assign it weekly or monthly or quarterly. I personally prefer weekly. You can do whatever suits you, okay? In my opinion, honestly, the shorter your time frame is for your to-do list, that's when you actually stay on top of it and actually do it, all right? So that's just my opinion, just a side pro tip for what has worked for me. Then we come to the fourth, which is, you've got to track what you're doing. You have to track it, because otherwise there's no point in whatever mega goal setting thing that you've been working on. If you don't actually implement it, then what's the point of all of that time, right? So take the time to track. When you are tracking, it actually helps you stay motivated to continue doing the action items that you've set for yourself in each of the 6 areas that we talked about. Along with tracking, take some time to analyze, and of course, if it is necessary, take the time to pivot whatever it is that you're doing so that it suits you or it suits the aspect or the goal that you are trying to hit better. All right, so that is basically how I'm going to conclude this entire podio. If you liked it, please do give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video or a podcast. Other than that, if you are looking to check out my 2 books, my first one is 0 to 4 Figures, Lessons Learned by a Broke CEO. It's got 61 stories and lessons related to topics like self-love, relationships, growth mindset, success mindset, business strategy, and marketing, so on and so forth. Then we come to my second book, which is Self-Loved. It is a compilation of 1,000 journal prompts focused on healing, growth, and self-discovery. It covers topics like gratitude, self-reflection, inner child healing, trauma healing, so on and so forth. Other than that, I also do have a series of productivity planners. It's called the Simple Series by The Marketing Nomad. At the moment of publishing this podio, there are 18 of them available. Now you can find my books, my journals, my trackers, all of them on Amazon. The simplest way to find any and all of them is to search my name on Amazon. It's Prithvi Madhukar, Prithvi, space, whoops, sorry, I just, I shook the camera a little bit because I was putting my foot down. Anyway, we're just gonna we're just gonna go past that. Anyway, the simplest way to find my stuff on Amazon is to search my name, Prithvi Madhukar, Prithvi space Madhukar. Alrighty guys, this is where I will leave you. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions for me, you can ask them in the comment section below and I will do my best to get to them. If you want to have a conversation with me, of course, you can reach out to me on my Instagram page. It's called, well, it's at The Marketing Nomad. It's not called anything. Okay, so we seem to have made quite a few fumbles today, but it's okay. I loved how this episode went, and I'm super excited to come back with another one for you. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening all the way up until here. Happy goal setting. I'll catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.